Do you ever feel like no matter how hard you try, you always fall off track? Like sticking with habits is easy for everyone else, but somehow impossible for you? If you struggle with consistency, you are so not alone. And you're also not the problem. Let me show you what is. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why you've struggled with consistency and how to fix it. Here's what you'll learn: why you always fall off track even when you start out motivated, what's actually going on when it feels like you can't stick to routines like everyone else, and how to make healthy habits feel automatic, like something you just do instead of something you constantly battle with. This video will show you the real reason it's been hard and give you a smarter, more sustainable way to stay on track. I used to feel like a complete failure when it came to sticking with routines. I'd get excited, plan out the perfect habit strategy, start strong on Monday, and by Thursday, I was already slipping. Then I'd beat myself up, promise to try harder, and repeat the same cycle the next week. Sound familiar? It took me a long time to realize the problem wasn't me. It was the way I was approaching consistency. And once I figured out what was actually getting in my way, everything changed. It turns out, motivation is really useful for getting started with a new routine, but systems determine whether or not you stay consistent. This is why it's so common to fall off track even when you start out highly motivated with really strong intentions. So falling off track is usually not a personal failure, it's more of a design problem. But what about other people who make healthy routines look so effortless? If someone legitimately has a really great, consistent, healthy routine that's not just a fake, curated social media version of what they want you to think their morning looks like, I can guarantee that they have good systems in place to support their routines. They also definitely went through some trial and error to figure out which habits works best for them and the best way to work them into their routine. There's no one-size-fits-all routine. What looks effortless for others may not be aligned with your lifestyle, bandwidth, or environment. Figuring out what works well for you personally is the most important part of developing a routine you can be consistent with. So let's get into some practical tips that can help you build a consistent routine that works for you. Here are 8 things that will make it so much easier to stay consistent with a new routine. Number 1, don't fall for the all or nothing trap. Trying to change everything all at once leads to burnout. You start out motivated, thinking, this time I'm going to get it all together. You overhaul your schedule, make a detailed plan, and try to implement 5 new habits all at once. But here's the problem. Big changes take big energy. And when real life kicks in, work stress, fatigue, unexpected interruptions, that perfect plan collapses. Then what happens? You feel like you failed, so you stop altogether. That's the all or nothing trap. It tricks you into believing that if you can't do everything perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. But the truth is, perfection is not the goal, consistency is. Small wins are what build real momentum, not massive overhauls, but tiny actions repeated often. So if you did your routine today, even just a piece of it, you didn't fall short, you succeeded. Number 2, don't rely on motivation. Motivation is like the weather. Some days it's sunny and perfect, other days a storm rolls through. It's unpredictable, it fluctuates, and that's totally normal. But here's the catch. You can't build sustainable habits on something so unstable. If your routine only works when you feel like doing it, it won't last. That's where most people get stuck. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for the right mood or the perfect time. And when that feeling doesn't show up, the habit doesn't happen. But you don't need more motivation. You need a system. Systems are what carry you through on the days when motivation runs out. They're like a backup plan for your future self, a version of you who might be tired, distracted, or overwhelmed, but can still follow through because the process is already in place. A good system makes the habit easy to start, hard to forget, and doable even on low energy days. For example, if your workout clothes are already laid out, it's easier to begin. If your planner is open and your to-do list is visible, you're more likely to stay on task. If your healthy snacks are prepped and front and center, they become the default. It's not about pushing harder, it's about designing smarter. Design habits that don't require motivation. Design habits that run on momentum, not willpower. That's how consistency is built. Not in bursts of energy, but in routines that are ready to go, even when you're not. Number 3, make habits modifiable. Here's one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make. Your habits don't have to look the same every day to count. In fact, they shouldn't. Ask yourself, what's the version of this habit that I can still do even on a bad day? That's what I call the bad day version of a habit. It's the scaled down, simplified version you turn to when you're tired, busy, overwhelmed, or just not feeling it. Because life isn't always ideal. You won't always have time. You won't always feel focused or energized. But if your habits are flexible, you can stay on track. Here's what that looks like in real life. If your full workout is 30 minutes, your bad day version might be a 5-minute stretch. If your morning routine usually includes journaling and meditation, your bad day version might just be taking 3 deep breaths and writing 1 sentence. The goal isn't to do the perfect version, it's to do something. That way, you're not starting from scratch tomorrow. You kept the habit alive. You maintained the identity. I'm someone who shows up for myself. Because when you let go of all or nothing thinking, you make space for sustainable progress. Progress that blends with your life instead of breaking when things get tough. So when you're building or refining a habit, always ask, what's my bad day backup plan? That's what keeps your momentum going even when life doesn't go according to plan. Number 4, make it fun and light. Consistency doesn't have to mean rigid discipline. It doesn't have to be boring, punishing, or something you dread. In fact, the more fun you make your habits, the more likely you're going to stick with them. We tend to think that change has to be serious to be effective. But what if playfulness is actually your secret weapon? Choose habits you genuinely enjoy, or ones that you can learn to enjoy by adding a sense of lightness. Because when something feels good, you'll want to come back to it. This could mean turning on your favorite playlist and dancing in your kitchen instead of forcing yourself to jog, making meal prep into a fun date night or cooking party. You're allowed to make it fun, you're allowed to laugh, you're allowed to look forward to your habits. When routines feel joyful instead of burdensome, you're more resilient when life gets messy. You bounce back faster from slip-ups because you're not dragging yourself through a routine that you hate. You're coming back to something that lifts you up. So ask yourself, how can I make this more fun? How can I bring more lightness or creativity into this habit? Even a tiny shift in mindset can completely change how your routines feel. And that's the key to making them last. Number 5, build one habit at a time. Remember the all or nothing trap we talked about earlier? Focusing on just one habit at a time is a really great way to not fall into that mindset. Choose one habit to focus on, just one, then layer slowly. Only move on when that first habit feels automatic, when it's something you do without overthinking or fighting yourself. This slow build approach does 2 powerful things. First, it builds confidence. Every time you follow through, you're proving to yourself, I can do this. And secondly, it shapes your identity. Instead of trying to become a whole new person overnight, you're reinforcing one core belief at a time, like, I'm someone who is consistent. Think of it like building a foundation. If you stack too many bricks before the cement dries, the whole thing collapses. But if you let each layer set, you create something strong, stable, and built to last. So don't rush the process. It's not a race, it's a transformation, and transformations take time. Number 6, set up your environment for success. If you've ever walked into a kitchen full of cookies and grabbed one without thinking, you already know how powerful your environment is. Your space shapes your behavior. Here's the golden rule. Make the good stuff easy and the not so good stuff harder. This means adjusting your space to support the behavior you want to do and create just enough friction to slow down the behaviors you're trying to avoid. Let's break that down. Here's some examples of ways you can make the good stuff easier. Put your journal on your pillow so you don't forget to write before bed. Leave your workout bag by the door the night before. Keep healthy snacks at eye level in the fridge, not buried in the drawer. Set up a cozy reading nook so your books are easy to reach and fun to read. These small tweaks make it more likely you'll follow through, not because you suddenly have more willpower, but because you removed the friction. Here are some examples of how we can make bad habits a little bit harder. Log out of social media apps or move them off your home screen. Put junk food out of sight or don't buy it in the first place. Leave your phone in another room when you want to focus. Turn off autoplay on Netflix if you're trying to cut back on screen time. These tiny adjustments force a pause, a moment to ask yourself, do I actually want to do this? That pause is powerful. I encourage you to take a walk through your home and ask yourself, does this space support the habits I want or sabotage them? And remember, small shifts can create big momentum. Number 7, anticipate setbacks. Let's be real. Life doesn't always go according to plan. You'll get sick, your schedule will change, you'll get overwhelmed, busy, or just plain tired. And if your habits only work on your best days, they're not going to stick. So here's the mindset shift. Don't just build ideal day habits, build real life habits. That means designing routines that can bend without breaking. It means planning for imperfection, Not because you're not committed, but because you're human. Ask yourself, what will this look like on a stressful day? How can I show up when things aren't going smoothly? What's my version of this habit when life throws me a curveball? Number 8, be realistic and play the long game. Let's talk about something no one wants to hear. Progress is slow. It's not flashy, it's not viral, it's built on tiny repeated actions, often done in silence, with no applause, and no visible results for a little while. That's why so many people give up. Not because they're lazy, but because they're expecting overnight change. So here's the truth. The people who succeed aren't the ones who go the hardest. They're the ones who keep going the longest. If you want sustainable habits, you need to play the long game. That means redefining consistency. Consistency doesn't mean never missing a day, always doing the full routine, constant motivation and discipline. Consistency means coming back even after a break, doing the mini version when life is chaotic, trusting that small steps repeated often lead to real change. This mindset frees you from perfectionism and gives you room to grow without burning out. Now that you understand how to actually be consistent with your habits, here's something most people overlook. Your environment could be quietly undoing all that progress. Even with the best mindset and routines, if your home is full of distractions or triggers for your old habits, it's going to feel like you're fighting an uphill battle every day. So if you want your space to help you stay consistent and not sabotage you, click here to watch my video, Is Your Home Sabotaging Your Habits? I'll show you how small tweaks to your environment can make sticking with habits way easier.